Hi guys, praise Jesus, praise the Lord. Hi guys, so I kind of changed my outfit because it wasn't really matching up. So anyway, hi guys, hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today it is 8th March and it is Women's Day. I just got done with what I was doing and then I decided to come here and talk to you guys, because every time I go kind of personal, the way I get this interaction with you guys, it makes me feel like, you know what, they are going through maybe a certain situation that I've gone through, or what I'm going through, like that. So we kind of go personal. Today I'm celebrating my beautiful mama right here. I'll post a picture. I'm celebrating my beautiful mama and I'm celebrating you guys, amazing women in this entire universe. I'm celebrating my sisters, my mother-in-law, my sweet mother-in-law, and but I'm just going to talk about my life a little bit, how, you know, we used to live life. And yeah, let's get started with the video. Okay, so I've written down a little bit of notes so that I don't forget. I wrote them yesterday night. So growing up, I'm going to be talking about. So growing up, I grew up in actually like a normal home. We are 9 kids so far, but you know, that was before other kids came in. I am the 5th in the family, so we are 9 kids all together in my mother's, but also my dad has other kids, my brothers and sisters from other mothers, but I'm going to talk about mine that I know. So we grew up in a family where my mother like took care of everyone, like regardless step what, and then I was born. I don't know when I was born, like I don't know how I was when I was born, but growing up, I think I was around 6-7 years old. And then that's when I started seeing what the world meant. So I remember I remember days. There are those days that we used to go without food. There are those days that we used to go without food. And we used to sit in the sitting room with my mother. So now, let me tell you. So we sit in the sitting room. We actually know that, you know what, we don't have what to eat. We have borrowed from all the shops, like we have borrowed from all shops, our neighbors and all that. So now we are done. So we could sit in the sitting room and then we start like talking, you know, those imaginary talks. And then we start saying, Mom, just imagine if we pick a bag of money full of dollars, full of money, like we pick a sack of money. Mommy, what would you buy? I would buy for you cars. I would buy for you this. You know, we would buy food, but in actual sense, we could even like go to bed without having something to eat. But the reason why I'm celebrating my mother is she never, like, you know, this kind of a situation where you sit and then you tell your kids, you know what, life is done. I don't think we shall have something to eat. She was always encouraging us, telling us, you know what, we are going to get something to eat. Just let's wait and see how tomorrow goes. We are going, like, she was that kind of a person. And then my brother used to go out, you know, collect people's trash, take them to the trash, where they used to dispose of, like it was called chiwunya. We take trash and then we get paid. So that's how, like, we used to, you know, hunt for money. Growing up, let me see, so we grew up, and then later, after so many years, but that was when I was grown up, I was really understanding. I think I was around 16-17 years, and that's when my mother separated with my dad. That was, you know, but one thing my mother always told me, Jalia, simply because we failed with your dad, it doesn't mean that you too, you fail. Or I don't want you to see the mistakes, or I don't want you to see that men are bad, blah blah blah. My mistakes is my mistake. Your dad's mistake is his mistake. Like, it's not going to define your future. It's not going to define who you are in future. So if you ever find the man that you love, fall in love, do whatever you want. So she really showed me, simply because she's having a certain thing in her life, it doesn't really determine that I personally will go through the same step. So most of the times I see like people struggling, people doing what. Guys, let me tell you something before we even go any further. Most of the situations that you went through, most of those bad situations you're seeing, at a certain point in life, you will look at them as your testimonies. You look at them like they'll be your testimonies. It's hard for you to talk about your life without ups and downs, and then it will be like fun to people. So yeah, those ugly situations, they come through in our lives just to give us lessons to learn and also be our testimonies in life. So I remember one day my mother, so in short, me and my mother, we have been through thick and thin here. She has been my best friend. She has been my best friend all throughout my life, like everything that I've faced. When I lost the person I loved, she was there for me. When I gained the person I loved, she was there for me. When I gave birth to my kids, she was there for me. So we went through the deepest of all together, and we are still going through so many good and bad things together, and I celebrate her every single day. Guys, if you have your mother and you know you have your mother and you love her, or I don't know, like if you have your mother, celebrate her, give her whatever you can when she's still alive, because there are those days that she's going to wake up when she's not feeling well at all. My mother and I, we went through a lot, to an extent that we never even had medication for her, because she developed something. First of all, she had gallstones. I don't know if you're familiar with that disease. She had gallstones, she had high blood pressure, she had ulcers, she had lots of diseases. And personally, I tried to treat her. I tried to take her for the best treatment in this entire universe. It actually, okay, every time I go emotional, I go off. Okay, so one thing is, okay, let me also talk about the issue of school. When I was growing, let me tell you guys, me when I was growing up, when I used to attend school, the moment this person who chases school fees comes in the classroom, I just pack my books and like that, and then I move out, because I never missed on the list of people who never paid school fees. Like, I never missed. I was such a bright girl. I could perform so well in class, to an extent that even if I was absent in class and I wasn't there, I can come back after a month and then I catch up. But then every time I could go to school, they used to chase me out of school because I never had school fees. And growing up, I realized that it's not that my dad never wanted to pay my school fees, but he never had it. He did not have money. By that time when I was young, I used to question, and then I used to question God, Lord, why me? Why me? Me, every time I go to school, they chase me out of school. Me, why me? Every time I go to school, I don't even attend school. So I grew up in an environment where I was chased from school, like most of the time. But my mother, I remember one day, so where we grew up from, we had a school where a school which was kind of like on an expensive side, but it was, for rich people, rich kids, so it was called City Nursery. It wasn't like over like so expensive, but by that time it was damn expensive. So my mom was like, Jali, I want to take you to an expensive school. I was like, Mommy, it was the happiest day of my life. She took me to that school. Yeah, by that time I remember we're paying around, right now we call it $20. I remember, yeah, we used to pay 60,000 by that time. It was so expensive to pay 60,000. So they took me to that school. My mom got me uniform. It was one of the best days of my school, attending a very nice high-class school. But where I used to come from, like the schools I used to attend, I wasn't consistent in class. Every time I could go to school, they chased me. Personally, I went to over, in my primary level, I went to over like 20 or 30 schools, if I'm not mistaken. Because this school I could go for one term, they chased me out. We don't have school fees to pay for the other time. So my mom took me to that school and she paid for me a little of the money. I attended school, started catching up with other kids, being so bright and all that. A wave came back. I was chased from school. But one thing I remember about my mom, she told me, Jalia, when we get money, I'll take you to an expensive school. Guys, every time I remember all those pretty things my mother did for me, and I don't know. So when I finished my primary, that was when I finished my P7 primary. For those who come from Uganda, you actually know what I'm talking about. In East Africa, that is how we used like is it like first grade, second grade, third grade, like I don't know, is it to how many grade here, I don't know. But those grades, when I finished my primary level, which was the low, you know, low levels, and then I reached my high school. So in my high school, that's when God opened more doors for me. So I started getting people to sponsor me, like in school, like because I was too bright, I got a first super grade. So people started sponsoring me. The owners of the school, they started sponsoring me. So my late pastor girl, who was like my father figure in my life, sponsored me. So many people, like they used to, you find someone, like you just find someone, they look at you and they be like, I want to pay your school fees. I remember in my senior 2, a man looked at me like this, and then he had a daughter in the same school I used to attend, and then a man said, I'm going to pay your school fees this term. And I was like, oh Lord, thank you. So I've been walking in grace, walking in grace, walking in grace by God's grace. And another thing, my mother, I remember my mother, something that she has taught me that has completely changed my life. Guys, no one has ever taught me this, but my mother taught me patience. I have been such an impatient person, like, you know, this kind of a person, like you are trying to chase out something, and then when you see that it's not coming out the way you wanted, and then you start fuming, you start blah 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 blah. Let me even extend here so you can see me. So I was such an impatient person, super impatient. But my mother taught me one thing, and mommy, if you're watching this video, let me tell you something. You taught me this thing, that tewali chitatuka. It means nothing. Okay, everything will. I'm trying to find the right how to describe it. Like she told me, everything, like if you say I'm going to pay you in July, for instance, we are in March, and then someone say she's going to pay you in July, that time will come. That time will come. My patience, like I give credit to my mom. She taught me patience, and then God blessed me through that. You know, it's not just about like a human one. And then my mother taught me patience. Every time I wanted to go off, every time I wanted to attack someone and do what, she would tell me, Jalia, calm down, have patience. Even that one thing you are waiting for is going to come. So let this video be a lesson to you. Let me teach you something. Even if someone says they are going to come in the next 4 years, those 4 years will come to pass. They will come. They will come, and the time will be there very soon. Another thing, my mother, I think this one I'll just make a detailed video. Let me just talk about it. I got what we call facial palsy or Bell palsy. I don't know, like one part of the face to freeze, one part to become paralyzed. Like part of my face was paralyzed, which was this side. Was it this side? Yeah, it was this side. So my mouth was this side. That is what I remember. And then my mother told me one thing: patience, Jalia. One day you'll be fine. That was also patience. So my mother has been my greatest strength. Even when I went through the hardest breakup of my life, she was there. She comforted me. She promised me that everything is going to be fine, and look where I am. Everything is fine. I moved on. I remember, let me also talk about a bit of my sister. So I had my sister who was once in an abusive relationship. I don't mention her name because maybe she'll not be happy to be mentioned. So I had my sister, let me mention her. She knows me. She's called Hajra. She was once in an abusive relationship. Like, you fight with your husband, he beats you, he does that, then tomorrow he comes back and tell you how much he loves you, blah blah. So my sister was in that abusive relationship for quite some time, and personally, one day I think I talked about my past abusive relationship. And then before my abusive relationship, it was my sister who was in an abusive relationship, but she was in Kenya, very far away from home. When she was in Kenya, let me tell you, one day she made a decision, and we all knew that she loved this man with all her life. she loved this man, although things were not working out well, but we knew that she loved this man. So loving this man also brought a lot of issues, but also, let me just state it straight. So one day she made a decision. It was midnight. She walked out of this man completely. She got a bus and came back to Uganda. That's how she left that relationship, without touching anything, without doing what. She decided with her life, and she's like, you know what, I'm going to make this decision. I'm going to get out of this man's life completely, because the man reached an extent where he could not allow this girl to even move out. So one day I was in an abusive relationship, and one thing that made me make a decision to walk out of that relationship was when I remembered my sister walking out and then coming out and then shining again. The moment I remembered my sister, I was like, come what, come may, I'm walking out. So I remember part of so many women that have been important in my life. I can't, if I decide to say it, I'll even sleep here. But anyway, thank you so much, and a happy Women's Day to all the women out there. I hope my stories, help you out in case you're going through the same situation I went through. May the Lord comfort you. May the Lord be with you. And right now, I go by saying, God is not yet done with you. May the good Lord be with you. In Jesus' name, amen.